speaking of tournaments and where our eyes are, like this past weekend, unbelievable stuff coming out of the MPL over there at Grand Park, all throughout that Westfield location. I know there were probably some offsites going on as well and stuff like that, just with how many good players. And it did get impacted by rain. Some of those tornadoes, some of those heavy thunderstorms, it definitely came through Indiana as well. So appreciate, everybody being patient and just flexible with probably some games getting banged and moving around and stuff like that. But Pete was out there for a couple days, had a ton of takeaways. And then just seeing everything that they put out on social, like there's some guys that I think we just want to touch on as well.
Yeah, I can touch on guys that I had, and then like you said, like Cooper was tweeting out a bunch of guys. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can go to Cooper Trinkle's Twitter, kind of just scroll through or look up like hashtag MPL 2026. You'll see basically everything we got pumping through there. But yeah, the first guy I saw actually of the entire tournament was Nick Sciarotto. 8 a.m. slot, got going right away on Tuesday. He was on the mound, 84 to 87. Super clean, like the way it works. Like he can pitch. He was spinning a breaking ball for strikes. I was just a big fan of the way it worked. And Cooper got to see him a few times with the bat and at short, and he really looks the part. Like the actions are real. The arm plays across the infield, the swing. Like he was apparently like 9 for 13, I want to say, in the tournament. Like he was tearing it up. The swing plays, like there's strength still to come there. So the bat to ball is present, but he'll get more power as he goes. But really like the way the videos looked from Cooper. And he's just one of the top players in the state for a reason. On both sides of the ball.
I found that tweet, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
9 for 13 on the week, so you were spot on. Had a couple like 4.12 to 4.19s down the line. That's really getting down the line at that age from a right-handed hitter as well. And then got a W on the mound, struck out 5 in 5 innings pitched, was like mid to upper 80s, cruising in the mid 80s, peaked at 87. And I mean, we've seen it firmer than that. So true two-way guy that can stick at shortstop. And if that bat's getting going with the way he runs and the upside he has too, because that's just a young looking guy that's got a ton of like room to add strength. So
yeah,
awesome stuff out of Sciarotto there. Really, really good to see.
I mean, good bloodlines too. His brother was kind of the same way, except I would say Nick's even more like projectable than Joe was from a frame standpoint. But yeah, no, we're huge fans of Nick. Moving down the next slot, I got my eyes on Landon Ludwig from Ridgeview, 2028, one of our top left-handed pitchers, if not the top in the state. But no, he wouldn't be the top actually. It'd be Colin Lawler. But yeah, I loved it. I loved how it worked. Like, it's kind of a deceptive look. Everything tunnels well, and the fastball was really playing up. It was 86, 87. The slider was kind of low, mid-70s, playing well off the fastball, and he showed a changeup. But I just love the way it works. Like the frame, these 6'4", 6'5", high-waisted, long-levered, how you draw it up. Left-handed, obviously. And just the way that everything was playing off of each other and the deception. Like, it was hard to pick up out of the hand. So really liked my look at him. And then actually on the same team, Luke Euler from Normal Community at 2028. It was my mission this week to find a good 2028 catcher that we didn't know about. And Luke Euler, immediately stood out. Left-handed hitting catcher. The swing works. It's loose. It's athletic. I think there's more strength to come in that frame as well. I don't have the exact height and weight on him, but he's well put together with projection. And I thought the glove played, like he had some smooth, savvy actions, and the arm was, it played, slightly above average to second, I would say, on the bag with accuracy. So, and he's one where like, yeah, we didn't really know about him because he's at Normal Community. He's a sophomore catcher. He's got Max Heineman in front of him. He's got Drew Stevens in front of him, and also Lucas Beatty. So like, yeah, it made sense that we didn't really know about him. But man, do we know about him now? So he'll be one to follow moving forward. But in the
how about that string of catchers that Normal Community has the luxury to have? I mean, some schools are struggling to find one catcher, and they've just got this coming through the hallways there at Normal Community. Like, you would think they'd be hurting after losing Max Heineman and Drew Stevens. And it's like, we've got Lucas Beatty, we've got Lucas Euler. Like, we'll be just fine for years to come. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that find from you though, Pete, because that's not only do we like the way he was receiving, like I saw the video you put out, but then anybody's gonna like a left-handed catcher. Like that just adds to what he offers. So like hopefully we get continued looks at Lucas, um, to just continue to evaluate him, but certainly got himself on the radar.
Yeah, and it was funny, like their coach from Rhino was like, I was kind of asking him, I was like, who do you got? Like, who do you like? He's like, well, we got this Oiler kid. He's left-handed hitting catcher. You guys like those, right? And we're like, yeah, sure do. So he kind of knew like what he
Yeah,
had.
yeah, not sure who doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then like, man, that Lucas Beatty video looked awesome.
yeah, I
I
agree.
don't know if it was Cooper or just the Indiana scouting page that tweeted him, but I came away really liking him from the All-State in winter. He's physical. I love the bat, and yeah, he's a good catcher too. So Normal's going to be, they're going to be good for a while here, it seems like. But
Well, what's
it,
great about him is the versatility. Like
yeah,
he was playing second base for Normal Community a lot throughout the spring, and yeah, guy that can play and played it at a high level. Like wasn't just like a filler out there. Like he was a impact second baseman for Normal Community. So just want to throw
right.
that out there too on top of it because I agree. Like it looked like a really repeatable, compact swing with a ton of bat speed in there.
Hmm.
A little. I mean, I only saw Normal Community the first game of the year, but it looked like it had ticked up since then.
For sure. And then sticking in that same slot, Peter Pignatello from Bennett, 2028, just a guy that we've gotten plenty of looks at throughout the spring, and he just continues to make strides. The strength is continuing to come in the swing. I know Trinkle is also a huge fan of Pete. Just the swing and the athlete that he is, like he can run. He gets out of the box, like he was playing really, really hard. Like good run times, no matter the contact he was getting. Like he flew out, I want to say to left field, and he was basically at second base when they caught the ball. I mean, he knew it was going to be caught. Like it was an out basically right off the bat, and he didn't care. He was busting his butt. So love to see that. Love to see players play the game that way. But yeah, I love the swing. It's clean. It's on plane. It's loose. It's through the zone, and it's getting stronger. So kind of all the things that you want to see with a young bat like that. And then I actually really love. I mean, not a surprise. Like not to say the glove hasn't ever been good, but it was maybe my favorite look at the glove. Like just a little extra bounce and like athleticism in this look for me, where I was like really came away impressed with him. So yeah, good look at Pete. And then actually on the same team there, not in the same game, it was the following slot. The 3:30 slot was absolutely loaded on Tuesday, but Colin Lawler got the ball, and he's Maris 2028. He's our top ranked left-handed pitcher in the state. He was 85, 86 with, all sorts of pitch ability, 4 pitches for strikes, showing his slider. That's kind of the cutter at times. So he's got the fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. So, I mean, starter upside all day. He's deceptive. Was pitching against a really, really good Canes team. And I thought he was throwing the ball well. But then another arm that I really came away liking that I hadn't seen in some time was Cole Ruggieri from Wabanzi Valley, Missouri commit. Now he's one that like has had his ups and downs, like his struggles with the strike zone, but man, he had it from all accounts. He had a really good spring and was in the zone competing, and like I loved it in person. It's got like a longer arm swing with some deception to it, but he was 89, 92 throwing a plus changeup. Like it was disappearing off the table for swing and miss whenever he wanted it. So the fastball changeup mix was very effective, and then showed a slider. It was scattered, developing command, however you want to say it. Like it was definitely not in the zone, but showed good shape. And it's a promising third pitch if you can get that in the zone more often. But I think the fastball and the changeup right now, like he could dominate lineups just with those two. Because that's kind of a unique look too. Like you don't typically see changeups at that level, like that good. And I feel like pitchers that typically have the good changeup, like a Grand Umbre for example, like it's just not something you see very often. So it tends to be effective because people are usually looking for spin. But if you got a good changeup, you can throw at any count to right or left-handed hitters. Like it's gonna do wonders for you. And Cole was showing that against a good team as well. Some more names I'm just gonna keep rolling through here. Luca Agni, one of my favorite players to watch just in the state, like spark plug, Swiss Army knife. can play a little bit of everything, switch hitter, plays the game hard. He homered his first at bat and then missed a home run his basically by like a foot, maybe not even his second at bat. So just continues to work on the barrel in front of us. It's a strong uphill swing. Like he was clearly trying to lift the baseball, and he's got enough juice to do it. So it was an impressive look at him. Always like to see him. And then Carson Trivellini from Crystal Lake South, Illinois commit 2027. Like we had just seen him at state playing for Crystal Lake South there for 3A. But seeing him a little bit more up close, like, man, he is an absolute stud. Like looks like such a guy in the uniform. The frame's how you draw it up. High-waisted with some strength, but man, he could get even more physical in a hurry. And I expect him to completely. Like the glove is super real. He'll stick at shortstop long term. There's actions, there's foot speed, there's arm strength. And I really came away liking the bat. Like the hand speed stood out to me. Like I think that swing works, and he's only going to get stronger. So he's one to follow for sure. Came away liking him a lot. And then an arm that I think will deserve and garner a lot of attention this summer is Nate Larson from Huntley, an uncommitted rising senior. He was in the nightcap. It was like 11:30 p.m. And this dude was just bumping 85, 87 with a tough angle and a slider. And it looked real. Like there was a kind of a whole crew of coaches watching him. So, I mean, for him to gather that crowd that late in the evening was impressive, and it was deserved. Like I think he's an uncommitted southpaw that should garner a lot of attention and has been so far. But he was filling up the zone with his fastball and slider. And then the following day,
Pete, just to chime in on him too, like he had a great spring season for Huntley.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna try to see if I could gather his stats here because it would just kind of accentuate what you're talking about. But we'll see if I can pull it up here in the next. My computer's been going slow, but yeah, I got Nate here. So these weren't year-end numbers, but when these ones got submitted, he had thrown 41 and 2/3 innings pitched. He was 5-0 and only given up 27 hits. Had struck out 65 in those 41 plus innings with 20 walks and a 2.18 ERA. So, I mean, you mentioned it. It looked really real. Like it was dominant this spring, carrying it over to the summer, and it's really clean too. Kind of like a bigger, stronger frame, like a good lower half to him, to where I think he's going to be durable and carry some velo and hold the velo. So love that you got to look at him, and clearly the late night start didn't bother him either. So just wanted to touch on Nate because, man, he deserves some love after that season he had.
And then the following day, two arms that were actually going against each other. Anderson Kaufman from Alton, he's a 28, and then Sonny Mateo from Montini, another 28. So Anderson, one of our top-ranked pitchers in the state, all sorts of pitchability. He was 89, or sorry, well, yeah, he was kind of cruising around the 89, 90-mile-an-hour mark, but he was 87 and 91 ranging. Super confident in the breaking ball, like as he typically is. The curveball is kind of in the low mid 70s. Slider was around 80, 81, and then showing a changeup too. So the 4-pitch mix, like elite athleticism, bouncy, can repeat. Like it's how you draw it up. Looks like a shortstop on the mound, just with the athlete he is and the way it works. I mean, that's why we like him so much, right? The arm talent and the pitchability that's there. And then Sonny, I really, really liked Sonny. It was my first time seeing him in person. I mean, I don't know how tall he is. I would guess 6'2", 6'3", super high-waisted, lean and wiry with a ton of room to fill out, but really liked the way it worked on the mound. It was a carry fastball in the 84, 86 mile-an-hour range, spinning a little bit over 2,400, and then showed a slider changeup mix. But I really, really like the way that that arm and delivery works. I think that kid, his best days are still ahead of him as well. And I think jumps are likely for him in the really near future, and I would not be shocked to see him hitting some higher numbers here very soon on the gun.
Well, pretty much like every 28 you saw for the most part, like Nick Chirotto, Landon Ludwig, Peter Pignatello, Colin Lawler, moving down here to Anderson Kaufman, like they're all going to be a part of Team Illinois at the future games, which gets me really excited about that event. I mean, We try to make it the best of the best when it comes to uncommitted 28s, which pretty much every 28 now is in the mix for future games. Now that the rules change, these guys aren't committed early. Like, we're getting pretty much all uncommitted players coming through the pipeline now. Those 29s, not a single one will be committed and stuff like that. So we really can bring the best of the best, and it's going to be fun. It makes the job really hard because there's so many guys that warrant being there. But for you to get those looks at those guys, it helps kind of solidify a couple of them. As in, like, okay, we need like one more look before we pull the trigger. We got a couple of these guys, so really excited about where the future games team is right now, and we still have some spots. So we'll see what kind of pops here over the next couple of weeks. We got a big tournament coming up to the Rock this weekend. We'll have guys down at Rantoul as well. So we'll be cross-checking multiple places, let alone whatever comes out of Lake Point, Creekside, Grand Park, all that stuff. Some other things, too, that were just getting tweeted out that caught my eye. There was a crazy amount of tweets coming out that were hard to follow. The volume of it and how good some of the swings were. And then some guys that like we did not know. And one guy that I really am unfamiliar with, he got tweeted out last year at an event being like 83, 86, but Charles Reed, a right-handed pitcher out of Boylan Catholic, he's an uncommitted 2027. He's 6'2", 185, stretch only, but like loud velo. He was 88, 90, touching 91 and throwing an upper 70s slider. Just a guy that from a senior future games, like he warrants a really high follow. A guy from Illinois State games, getting in our rankings, that sort of thing. Charles Reed was a name that stood out to me. Henry Murphy is a guy that, coming off what Maine South did down the state run final stretch there, getting Maine South to the finals and getting them second place runner up. Henry Murphy was a huge part of that. And he kind of earned his future games invite off of that and what he did at state. But once again, just kind of confirmed that he should be there. He was 85, 88, touching 90, had 8 strikeouts through 3. He's got 4 pitches, looks like a starter, and he's like a high-level competitor. He's impressed our staff multiple times now. Really excited about him. Dodger Frederick is another one. It could be Frederick. I could be pronouncing it wrong, but he's just a monster hulking frame. He's 6'4", 245, 2028 out of Lane Tech, and he was 88, 93. Just bullying guys from the sounds of it. 6 Ks through 3, throwing a slider at 76, 77. But one of the strongest arms in the class here in Illinois. Running his fastball up to 93 with some heaviness to it. And then one of the more intriguing names across the state is, you mentioned Nate Larson at Huntley, but there's another fellow 2027 who's recently uncommitted, and Liam Nash. Both of those guys will be headlining the Huntley rotation next year, giving them, a righty and a lefty that are basically aces. Then you start talking about Owen Borkowski and a far too early look ahead at the 2027 spring season. But, man, Huntley's got a lot to be excited about because Liam Nash recently decommitted, was 93-95 in the first inning of his outing. Settled in at 90-93, was throwing a slider at 81-83, changeup where he was killing spin in the mid-80s. He's 6'3", 195, just has one of the strongest arms in the state, and it keeps getting stronger. 29 of 42 pitches for strikes through 3 innings, and struck out 5, no walks. So that is a guy that every coach in the country probably needs to know about. He just continues to get better every time we see him and elevate his stock. But Liam Nash, awesome stuff there out of Grand Park and the MPL. A name I was unfamiliar with that showed well also over there was Fisher Watts, a right-handed pitcher at Crab Orchard. 2028, 83-86, throwing a slider in the mid-70s and a curveball in the low 70s. 6'1", 175. Like, there was some rawness to it, but it was really, really intriguing. I thought the arm worked well. Had some intent to everything he did, and had a really, really good spring. And not only a good spring, but in this outing, he went 7 innings, no runs, 8 Ks. And then in the spring, like, he was striking out everybody. He had 139 strikeouts and 69 innings pitched with a 0.71 ERA. So Fisher Watts getting on our radar there. Another guy that's going to represent Team Illinois, Jack Postma, just keeps getting better. It's really, really cool to see. I felt like just the entirety of his spring, he's been on an upward trajectory. He was getting 6 feet 6 inches of extension here, according to what the TrackMan was saying there. 88-92 with the fastball, big shape to the slider at 75-77. Also showing a go-to changeup in the mid-70s. He's 6'5", 200, uncomfortable at bat with deceptive release. Just really excited to see him on that stage down there at the Future Games. And if he can consistently be in the zone, he's going to be as high level of a prospect as we have in that class. Talk about high level prospect that just keeps doing it and is going to be on some MLB radars. This summer should be Colin Doyle, Downers Grove North, right-handed pitcher, 6'6", 225 pounds, flat, fills out the uniform, impossible to miss when he's on the mound. Kind of looks like a big leaguer just standing out there on the mound, but he was 90-93 strikes, slider was 76-80, and then showing a changeup at 82, punched out 7 in 4 innings, no runs, and just continues to stand out with how easy the fastball plays and the starter profile. And he's turned himself into one of the top prospects in probably the Midwest here in that 2027 class. He is a Duke commit as well. There were so many other players that we could mention here, but we gotta cut it off at some point. But speaks to just how good that event was, and all these good guys coming through the state of Illinois. It is in no shortage of high level talent. So keep doing it this summer. If you're a player out there, we'll be out to watch you. Get to a prep baseball tournament, showcase. Let us get our eyes on you. And really, really looking forward to getting into the bulk of the summer here.